Attack on Titan, a show about, well, Titans. Truth be known, the Titans are mistranslated. The name Titan doesn't just mean something large, but is a reference to a group of Greek gods that preceded the 12 Olympians. However, that isn't what Attack on Titan is based on. Attack on Titan is based on Norse mythology, which can be recognized when you discover that Ymir Fritz was named after the mythological character Ymir, whose body served to give form to the 9 realms. And it's also true that the Paths is a direct reference to Yggdrasil, as is the tree with which Ymir found the Hallucigenia that gave her the powers she has. In Japan, the series is titled Shingeki no Kyojin, and in the series' Japanese dub, the Titans are known as Kyojin, which translates to giant. So if anything, the Titans are closer to the Jotun, also known as the Frost Giants, as opposed to the Greek Titans. But what do I know? I'm just here to list off every time Eren has ever turned into a Titan and why. Also, spoilers for the end. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Also, if you haven't checked lately, double check that you are still subscribed to our channel. We've noticed that some people are getting automatically unsubscribed. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. Cannibalism. As freaky as it is, there are so many good series that have it. Tokyo Ghoul is one of these series, and Attack on Titan is another. While these concepts terrify us, we find ourselves to each be a weeby Clarice, searching for our anime Hannibal Lecters. So let's celebrate the awesomeness that is a Titan and count the times that Eren has transformed into one. Eren's first transformation. This transformation took place right after the Battle of Shiganshina, when Eren and his friends were refugees inside of Wall Rose. Grisha had been away on family killing business, most of which Eren himself told him to do when Shiganshina was attacked. Eren, Mikasa, and Armin had just narrowly escaped thanks to the garrison troops who sprang into action and totally didn't run away from a smiling Titan like yellow-bellied cowards. Honest. After taking the Titans from the Reiss family, Grisha cries out, "Is this what you wanted, Eren?" and then goes up to the refugee camp where he takes Eren to the side. He wakes the boy up and drags him out into the wilderness, where he forces a shot into the arm of a hostile Eren who is trying to stop him from doing so. However, he does manage to do so, and Eren transforms into a pure Titan and looks very similar to the Attack Titan. The only difference is that it was a squat version of the Attack Titan, standing at 4 meters tall, having a big head and the same lipless design of his shifter form. Grisha lets Eren devour him, and in doing so, he passes his Titan powers to him, including that badass Attack Titan form. Grisha's Attack Titan looked the most intimidating, fight me, as well as his newly acquired, yet completely unusable Founding Titan form. Eren then returns to his human form, where Keith Shadis then finds Eren, yet not Grisha, and returns him to his resting place near Mikasa and Armin. Due to the trauma of the events, as well as the fact that the first Titan transformations are berserk, he mostly forgets the events, with only the key around his neck being able to give him any indication of Grisha's presence, as well as being the only thing that sparks any sort of recollection of that event. The Battle of Trost, Eren's second transformation. In the Battle of Trost, when the Colossal Titan appeared, the wall was kicked in and the district was flooded by pure Titans that had entered Wall Maria through Shiganshina. At this point, they began to terrorize the city. During this time, Eren got a bit ahead of himself and got chomped by 2 separate Titans, losing his leg to one and losing his arm to Santa Claus after he rescued Armin. Inside the Titan's belly, while seeing one of his comrades go under, all them instincts Eren has caused him to suddenly shift into a Titan, and given that he had yet to master it, he was completely out of control. The only thing he was doing was whatever was strongest on his mind when he was transformed, and that was escaping and killing more Titans, and this is exactly what he did. Busting from the Titan's chest like a xenomorph, Eren goes about killing any and all Titans he can find. It's then that Armin uses him to clear out the Titans that are lingering around the HQ. Eventually, Eren succeeds with routing the Titans, but he's too tired to continue, and he collapses and begins to pull his head from the nape of the Titan. Mikasa then gushes over him. Cute. Also, Eren transforms again after this, but I don't count it as a full transformation, as it's merely a partial manifest. When he gets over to the wall with Armin and Mikasa, in his deliria, he says, "I will kill them all," to humans who already fear he will hurt them, and this eventually leads to a cannonball being fired at them. Eren partially manifests his Titan specifically to catch this cannonball and save his friends, but after this, he requires rest. Battle of Trost Part 2. Eren is then volunteered by Armin to lead a mission to close up the hole in the wall by picking up a massive boulder and using it to plug the hole. However, Eren comes to learn that turning into a Titan isn't as easy as he thought it was, because no matter how many times he takes a bite out of his hand, he can't transform. This makes it seem like the mission will be a complete failure, and so they begin to fall back, but he does manage to transform. Too bad he's berserk again. Mikasa attempts to befriend her new massive boyfriend, but he punches the roof out from under her, causing a cut on her cheek, which becomes a scar that she keeps throughout the entire series. She would then try to wake him up with her words, but Eren feeds himself a knuckle sandwich and nearly kills her again. It's only when his real bestie, Armin, shows up on his shoulder and reminds him of the sea that Eren gains control. Eren would then find that stone and carry it as everyone protects him. It should also be noted that the armored Titan did not appear in this battle. I assume it was because Eren showed up as a new shifter on the field, but if I'm being honest, given how quickly it happened in Shiganshina, I would have assumed Reiner would have just bulldozed the wall while it was all going down. But maybe he just wasn't able to deal with it given he was surrounded by other scouts who could discover his identity. On Levi's squad. Eren's next transformations take place on Levi's squad. This happens when he's training to use the powers. Levi's squad put him into a well and has him biting his hand over and over until he transforms, but he doesn't. It's then that they pull him up and tend to his wounds. Then, during tea time, when he goes to pick up a spoon that he drops, his Titan arm suddenly appears. This freaks out most of Levi's squad, who are 3 seconds from taking his head off until Levi steps in. Later, they feel bad about this and bite their own hands to draw blood in a way of apologizing to Eren. Eren's touched by this and remains on Levi's squad. The next time he transforms is during the 57th expedition outside of the walls. At first, he didn't want to, as Levi's squad tells him to trust them, and Levi tells him that the decision to transform is up to him, but whatever his choice is, he should base his decision on what he won't regret later, so Eren decides not to. That is until everybody gets killed, and he transforms out of anger and rage. In his Titan form, he attempts to overpower the female Titan, but instead he gets his head kicked off. He's then seemingly devoured by the female Titan, but rescued by Levi and Mikasa. He then returns to Wall Rose, crying over his failures. Stohess Assault. The next time Eren transforms into a Titan is in Stohess. After Armin expertly deduces who it was that was responsible for the death of the Titans Sani and Bean, they begin to set up a mission to capture Annie Leonhardt. However, Annie catches on a little too quickly and she escapes in her female Titan transformation. She tries to retrieve Eren, but instead pins him under some rubble, nearly killing him. Armin and Mikasa accuse him of being unable to transform because of his feelings for her, but eventually, thinking of everything that's happened, Eren's anger boils over and he attacks her. It's then that she teaches him another lesson, but the power of hatred overpowers him and he enters a cool Berserker Flame regeneration transformation, which we never see again. And in the process, he crushes her face, and when Mikasa cuts her fingers off, Eren almost eats her until he's stopped by Levi. Ultimate Betrayal. Eren doesn't transform again until the end of the 2nd season. Reiner and Berthold are standing with Eren, and Reiner just walks up and is like, "Yo, buddy, we killed your mom, no hard feelings, right?" There were hard feelings. A true, certifiable Agatha all-along moment. Mikasa comes in swinging and forces Reiner and Berthold to transform and escape with Eren, but Eren also transforms into a Titan. Having learned much from his time with Annie, as well as their fights, Eren learns how to strategically beat the armored Titan through the use of joint locks and the like. In doing so, he nearly shatters its armor enough for Mikasa to kill it, but Reiner has at least one noodle in his noggin, so he moves Eren over and commands Berthold to crush them, which he immediately does. Reiner would then pull Eren out of his Titan form and begin to flee. Of course, the scouts give pursuit and eventually catch up with Eren and the others, and while the next isn't technically a transformation, he does display some Titan powers, so I will include it. When his half-brother's mama shows up and eats Hannes, Eren decides that his tiny fist can do something against the Titan, and strangely enough, it does. He punches its hand, and due to the Titan's royal blood, the Founder's power is activated, and Eren bids all of the other Titans to come and eat the Smiley Titan. We also get that whole, "I'll always wrap that scarf around your neck" scene, which is so sweet. Levi's squad reformed. Eren ends up on a new Levi squad that consists of all of his friends. During this time, Eren is asked to transform multiple times based on Hanji Zoe's need to research it. They're hoping that he can learn to do Titan hardening much like how Annie could, but these tests aren't very successful. They also try to see how many times in succession he can transform into a Titan, but this results in Eren's face falling off. But don't worry, he's a Titan shifter, so it does grow back. Versus the King of the Walls. The next time that Eren makes use of his Attack Titan's transformation is when he's captive under the Reiss family's chapel. Here he views the truth of everything through the Founder's power, and then Kenny Ackerman cuts his forehead to give him a fighting chance against Historia's prospective pure Titan form. However, he refuses to transform, feeling guilty for what his father had done to her family, and what he does not yet know was inspired by himself. Despite this, Reiss decides that the moment can't go to waste, and transforms himself into a pure Titan. And man, the royal blood in his veins and connection with the Founder must have been strong, because his Titan is the largest in the series, second to only Eren's Founder. Truth be told, Reiss's Titan actually favors the founding Titan quite a bit. He was never surrounded by Titans, but I truly wonder if he could have commanded other Titans too. Anyway, Eren transforms into the Attack Titan and bites a vial of Titan spinal fluid that allows him to create impressive levels of Titan hardening to create a protective alcove for his friends. He then escapes with them, where they follow the King of the Walls from a distance as he draws closer to Orvud District. They begin to prepare for the attack. During this point, they formulate the plan not to evacuate the population, instead informing them that it is merely a military exercise, which of course it isn't. This was, in essence, Erwin Smith using the people of Orvud as bait, as he knew that the King of the Walls would follow the population and stop moving on Orvud if they didn't stay put. Their lined-up cannons turned that caterpilling giant into Swiss cheese, but that didn't stop it. So their plan B was to use Eren's Titan form to throw as many barrels of gunpowder as possible into its mouth and let its own steam cause an explosion that would blow up its nape. And that wasn't so hard, considering that it had no lips, or nose, or eyes, or face. Look at him. Such an oozing, ugly bastard. Scarred for life. Anyway, Historia felt she wouldn't be heir to the throne with a little patricide, so she had to kill him. And kill him she did. Shiganshina Showdown. The next time Eren uses his Titan powers is during the battle to retake Shiganshina. As soon as they get there, they know that the warriors are there and waiting for them, and what's more, there are 3 cups of coffee, which lets them know that a new player, Zeke Jaeger, has joined the battle. They decide to start things by having Eren transform and seal up the walls to keep Titans out, but before they continue on, they begin to search for the warriors. Due to Armin having big brain, they find Reiner in the walls, and the poor sap who find Reiner had to eat a sword the wrong way. Of course, Levi shows up and puts his sword in Reiner's throat and lets him hit the ground, but you can't keep a good armored Titan down, and he transforms, which was all the signal that Zeke needed. This causes him to transform and display his Titans for all to see. Eren begins to fight against Reiner, and the gap between their skill levels has further grown, with Eren's new hardening ability just completely outclassing Reiner. But what do you know, Reiner has an assist. He cries out, which causes Monkey Titan to display that Major League arm of his to launch a barrel, a glorious nod to Donkey Kong, at the district, a barrel containing Bertholdt. Bertholdt eventually transforms, and this causes a massive concussive heat blast that robs Hanji of her eye and kills quite a few scouts. The Colossal Titan proceeds to tear up the district just because, and they begin to engage it in battle. Eren in his Titan form tries to grip its foot, but he gets kicked into the wall, which leaves him incapacitated. It's then that Armin cooks up, a plan to beat Bertholdt, and it works. Armin sacrifices himself to serve as bait for Bertholdt, while Eren sneaks in from behind and utterly kills Bert. Well, doesn't kill him, but he does defeat his Titan. They then eventually feed his Titan to Armin, creating the coolest looking Titan ever. Dude looks like handsome Squidward without skin. Meeting the Jaegerists. During the point after Shiganshina, Eren utilizes his Titan quite a few times, as does Armin, specifically while at sea. Whenever Marleyan scout vessels appear, they show up out there to capture it. They then use the vessels to call more, which eventually causes Yelena to appear. She would basically declare how much she worships Eren, and so they begin to share information, like guns and planes and trains and technology. Well, share is a relative word. The Jaegerists basically bring paradise into the 20th century. They also feed them tainted wine, but that is neither here nor there. Eren would eventually break off from the group after they witness the inequality across the sea. Eren suddenly goes genocidal and decides that it's best if the world just ends, so he begins to formulate a plan with Zeke. The Rumbling Arc. Eren next uses his Titan in Marley. He invites Reiner in to see him and then reveals himself. He then proceeds to tell him why this is just like Shiganshina and why he's just like Reiner. He almost sounds merciful and forgiving, and then suddenly he brings down an entire complex full of women and children like it was nothing. He quickly eats Little Willy. It is then that the Warhammer Titan appears. Eren has quite the issue with the Warhammer and would be outnumbered by the enemy if it weren't for the scouts who show up. Eren gets his Titan impaled and decapitated and has to jump out and make a new Titan. In the end, he manages not only to school Porco, but he even uses him to eat the Warhammer, which had covered itself in hardened skin in an effort to defend itself. After this, Eren doesn't use the Titan's power until Paradise is invaded. Well, he uses it once. He uses the Biosparks to intimidate Hanji, but beside that, he doesn't use the powers again until Marley invades, in which he takes his Attack Titan form and begins to fight against the warriors, where he proceeds to school Porco again, but this time kills him. He gets sniped by Piek, he manages to regenerate, and before she can take him out again, Zeke rains on her parade with boulders. However, she snipes him too and nearly kills Zeke. However, Eren escapes his Titan and tries to make it, but Gabby shoots his head off. But Zeke, ever the basketball enthusiast, catches it. They go on a big journey in the paths, but I've decided to spare you that just to get to the cool part. Eren turns into the founding Titan with a roar, and this causes all Titans in the walls to escape. In fact, all Titan hardening comes undone. Eren begins to march and flatten the world. Honestly, looking back, how does Eren take the Titans that could all fit on an island roughly the size of, actually, exactly the size of Madagascar, and flatten the entire world? They make it sound like it was just a massive line of Titans marching straight from the North Pole to the South Pole, but the level of impossibility here is, well, the show is too good to bother with logic. Insta-forgiven. Eren continues his march until he's confronted by the warriors and the scouts. After a bunch of fighting in which Eren spawns all past Titan shifters on his back, his head gets blown off and his wormy gets out of his neck to have cuddle times with Reiner and the rest of the Eldians. But if you think that is it, it's not, because Eren transforms into a Titan he has never eaten before, namely the Colossal Titan. Now, of course, you could say that he could always do this due to having the founding Titan, but if that were true, there would have been no reason for him to eat the Warhammer. But then again, perhaps the only reason he went over there was for Zeke. Pardon, maybe I'm just behind everything and thinking out loud. Anyway, Eren proceeds to fight Armin and gets a tooth knocked out. Specifically because of that, Mikasa is able to fly right in there and behead him, and once this happens, the power of the Titans disappears. And that is the last time we see Eren transform. And that is every time Eren has transformed into a Titan. Now, just because the Curse of Ymir disappeared and Eren died, that does not mean that Titans are gone for good, as after Eren's head is buried, the tree under which it is buried grows out in the times to come, and begins to resemble the tree where Ymir found the Hallucigenia. And a small child that looks like Ymir actually stumbles in there. This hints at and insinuates that the founding Titan, much like the world's hatred, will return in the future. Anyway, what was your favorite transformation? I liked Eren's Colossal Titan transformation. It was weird that he had it, but I ain't hating. I also like his Rager Regenerator form where he basically just catches on fire. That was sick. Let us know in the comments below what your favorite transformations were, and be sure to leave a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the bell to be notified when we drop a new video like this one, and peace out.